Hello everyone, I'm here to do a reading for tonight's new moon. As you know, this is a reading for the collective. You know that new moons are magical moments of the month where it's time to set up like new intentions and to prepare for the new cycle that's coming. And this new moon in Aries is particularly powerful. There we go. Started already with the Ten of Pentacles. So, yeah, what messages do we have for the collective for the new moon in Aries, the 5th of April, 2019? Two of Pentacles. What messages do we have for the new moon? It's a time to really focus on what is it that we want to create in our lives and what we want to focus on this month. This is a very focused month. Aries energy is very, very assertive, strong, fiery. We have Saturn in opposition with the Aries energy for the new moon tonight, which will feel like slowing things down, and we may feeling a little bit frustrated that things aren't moving as fast as we want them to move, and certain edging as well. This is beautiful energy. Definitely see the world with the new beginnings, and that's the new moon. And bottom of the deck we have the Four of Wands. Beautiful. So the Four of Wands is the underlying energy. Pretty much everything that shows up in this reading has to do with the Four of Wands. It's like your theme, right? So your theme seems to be how to create a structure for your spirituality, and I think you did. That's the thing. I think you're operating from this place right now, a place where you have a structure, a place where you know what you want, a place where you get the recognition for your contribution into the school of thought that you're coming from. Which has to do with how to live your life, I suppose, and how to operate into the world. The Four of Wands is an energy of real stability in terms of your belief system, in terms of what you really believe in, where you're really coming from, you know. So you got that covered. That's good. Well, let's clarify these cards. Here we have the Ten of Pentacles, which has to do with your legacy and what is it that you want to leave behind. And coming from, like, talking about this Four of Wands, I think you're starting to build up your legacy having to do with your belief system. Oh my God, Ace of Cups. Wow, this new moon is really powerful. Can really get things done. Look at this. You have the Ace of Cups, you have the World. So the Ten of Pentacles comes with the Ace of Cups. Oh wow. Oh wow. Look at that. All right, let's get the whole picture here before we continue into the story, because it is going deep. Oh wow. Wow. This card had showed up repeatedly for so many of the signs when I did the monthly reading for the month of April. So I think there's a general theme of happiness. What is happiness? What do I believe happiness to be? What is the model of family and relationship and happiness into the world? And it comes with the four of wands, which, as you can see, like these cards are like so mirroring each other in a way. Here you have this couple who maybe just got married or just won some sort of recognition for something in academia or in like something that this city celebrates them. So an entire city, an entire citadel in this case, celebrates them. They have built this structure here, which is like decorational and stuff. And here, these people are celebrating themselves, celebrating their own happiness, celebrating, they're like waving to the world even though there's no people to see them, but that's because they are feeling that happiness from the bottom of their heart. And because they have it all. This is the Ten of Cups, emotionally speaking. This is all that you can hope for. And look at the colors. The blue and the red. The blue and the red. In this case, they're mirrored. In Four of Wands, the man is in blue, the lady is in red. And in the Ten of Cups, it's the other way around. I think it has to do with the mind and the body. The mind and your heart, really, and the mind and your heart being aligned. And maybe this is what happiness is really all about, reconciling these two different places that we operate from, the mind and the heart, and aligning them really. But this is quite a journey, right? Of course, it could mean that we are reaching these points in our lives where we're really gonna feel this stuff. But at the same time, it just could really mean that it's time, we're being called upon to really, really revisit what is it that we want from life? What is it that we want from partnerships? What is it that we want from our institutions? What is it that we want from ourselves? And how are we going to work about that? What is it that we want to build? What is it that we want to create into the world? Based on our belief system, based on our idea of happiness. Is my idea of happiness the same idea of happiness with other people's idea of happiness? Or is it not? Am I aligned with, say, the collective consciousness here, or not? Or should I impose my idea of happiness on other people? Maybe my idea of happiness is I want to get married and have children and have that like amazing typical family portrait in my mind. But other people's idea of happiness may not involve children at all, may not involve anything that I find it grounds me and it gives me a safe space. Maybe for other people, actually traveling the world is what makes them happy, keeping moving all the time and learning knowledge from the places that they visit and the cultures that they get in touch with, and getting to share that experience with other people. I don't know why I'm going there, but I feel like, yeah, it's time to revisit these concepts at the deepest level, and it is at the deepest level, because it's like the Nine of Swords going with the Two of Pentacles, and then you have the Ten of Swords going with the Lovers. And these are cards where our mind is really doing its best to catch up with our hearts and with our emotions and with our spirituality and passion. There's something being like suppressed here. And something that having to do with balancing your emotions. Maybe you've been struggling quite hard lately to balance certain emotions that maybe you're afraid that they will have real repercussions in the everyday life, in your physical reality. And that kind of keeps you up at night, having some difficult moments and not having the most restful sleep. This actually really looks like the dark night of the soul. What is it being revisited here? What is it that comes up? And I think like, yeah, maybe rethinking all these concepts, which are very, very important concepts, and really shapes how we operate into the world. And if we're really paying attention of the greatness of this moment, the potential of this moment, we have a potential to create a new world, to create our new world. It's a really, the energies right now into the world are very new energies. These are something that we haven't experienced before. And many of us at an intuitive level, we can really start feeling just how much potential this time has. This rebirth of humanity as we know it, evolutionary speaking. But that can bring, like, it's all about choices. What choices are we making? And this is scary. This is like really too much for our minds to truly comprehend. Please clarify the Nine of Swords with the Two of Pentacles. So our minds aren't exactly used to this, and sometimes like things feel so grandiose and so big, and you start like intuitively feeling this potential of this energies that are flowing right now through us, towards us, around us, energies that come from the universe, from the planets, from within ourselves, from it's just a little bit too much for the mind to comprehend, and it kind of freaks out. It freaks out because it's afraid of not making mistakes. It's afraid of like creating a monster. What is it like I'm creating here? I feel more and more that I'm a creator, but what is it that I'm creating? And sometimes we really fear our Octega comes with the Eight of Swords. Like seriously. 7, 8, 9, 10. The mind is really going into a trip here. Yeah, it's like but it's great because it brings up completion, right? Okay, one more card. One more card to explain this row of Two of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and Eight of Swords. What is the nature of emotions that is being suppressed? What is the matter that's been keeping the mind stressed out and... all right. Oh, wow. 3 cards came up. So it's the Three of Pentacles, the Queen of Cups, and the Six of Wands. Okay, this is going to be a longer reading than I expected. Wow. Okay, so the mind puts up resistance whenever it sees such grandiose ideas and feelings and emotions and energies coming towards us, and it freaks out, and it wants to limit us. It wants to, like, we're still running on old programming, right? It's still running on old programming, and the old programming is really like limiting beliefs, right? This is what holds us back. This is what tells me, it's keeping me small and telling me like, we can't do that. Like, this is way too grandiose. Like, seriously, you're creating a new world here. Go back to sleep. But this is the nature of the ego. This is the nature of the mind. But these are like higher cards. It's like 8, 9, and 10. So it shows the completion of this particular thought process. It shows maturing of the thought process. It shows growth. And yes, the mind's growth isn't as exciting as the emotional growth. When we're like reaching higher levels of emotions, like the Ten of Cups, which symbolizes this beautiful happiness. Well, the Ten of Swords like looks as if you're being stabbed in the back and left to die, yeah? And it feels like death in a way. But what the mind does not understand is that this process is what we actually need to go through. We need to end this self-sabotage and this like deviousness of the mind, which is doing its best to block us, to lock us, to keep us small, because yeah, it's just, I mean, like, the mind is not doing this because it wants to, there's nothing wrong with it. The mind just needs time to comprehend this very, very grandiose concepts. And it is difficult because, you know, when we understand like just the extent of our power, really, we can become obsessed with ourselves. We can start playing power games. If our mind is not ready to accommodate all this, then for a good reason we're stressing out here, because we can't create monsters. And look at the history we did. Whenever there were like really big changes in terms of energy shifts and stuff, a lot had happened, and sometimes in horrible ways. And it is good to revisit, like, what is it that my mind is telling me? This is a time when looking at the emotions, the mind, and their repercussions into the daily life. And it has to do with like working together with other people, collaborations. It has to do with getting recognitions, and it has to do with emotional balance and with empathy and compassion. So these are things that the mind is preoccupied right now with. How to do this, how to incorporate this into my growth process. How am I going to operate given my rather extreme emotions at this point that I'm struggling so hard to juggle and to be operational still into the world. There's a lot going on right now, and these are important things to look at. But the way to look at them is still coming back into the body, coming back into being grounded, coming back into being aware. If I'm just operating from the back of my mind, from my subconscious, and if I'm just like operating from the old programming, then not much progress is being done, and we're just perpetuating the same things, and the repercussions that are going to come into the real life aren't going to be great. But if we're doing this consciously, if we observe what's really happening, observe what's happening in the mind, allow the mind to grow. This is the mind's growing process. Revisiting this amazing, beautiful concepts, things that are important to me, values, support network. Again, this is like getting the support and recognition for your projects and for your progress so far. And taming the emotions is not a small thing. It's a really big thing, especially when the emotions are like, look at the waves here. They're kind of like, woo, these boats are not really sure they're gonna make it. But they're gonna make it because the mind is growing. Yeah, it's maturing. And as this process like reaches its end, the mind, this is actually a card of surrender. The mind surrenders. The mind surrenders to the universal love, because this is where this is all going, really. Understanding that we can't operate from fear and from captivity. We can't allow ourselves to be held captive by our minds and our fears and our suppressed thoughts. No, they need to come forward, and we need to really understand that we need to operate from this place of unconditional love, really. I love the world. I love life. I love humanity. Weird as it is. I'm creating the world that I'm perceiving. What I'm going to give more attention to is what I'm going to see. If I'm only going to focus on what is it that scares me and what is it that I hate into the world, then I'm just going to charge myself up with that energy. If I'm just watching the 5 o'clock news, which are telling me all the horrible things that happen into the world, and that's it, then that's the world I'm going to see. And that's the place where I'm going to operate from. I'm going to operate from a place of fear. I'm going to operate from a place of defensiveness. I'm going to operate from a place of conflict. But when I'm shifting my focus towards love, towards the fact that we are all in the same boat here, really, and some of us get to have certain experiences and emotions, and some of us get to have other experiences and emotions, doesn't make us in any way better or worse than each other, rather just carrying out a certain mission. And the mind starts understanding this, and it's a surrender to love. This is really, really beautiful. This is really, really beautiful. The Lovers is a card that shows that we allow ourselves to grow out of just the self. This is a 6, I had the chance to understand the duality. I had the chance to like really go through this process of identifying myself and who am I and what's really happening. What is mine? What is yours? What is me? What is the rest of the world? Who am I? See how in which ways I'm really unique. But in order to grow, we need to allow ourselves to be seduced by seduced by the world, seduced by something outside of ourselves, in order to grow back to the concept of oneness, that we are all really interconnected, and to have more love and compassion for the world at large, for the world at large. And we tend to intellectualize this a lot. The 7 of Swords is also about intellectualizing things, keeping records, writing it down, communication of it, computer records, all this stuff. But I think this shows like this graduation that has to do with exactly this part of ourselves. The 7 of Wands, you can see there's a 7 of Swords, right? There's this guy who's like trying to take some swords there and run away with them and steal them without anybody seeing him. And this is what the mind does all the time, kind of sneaks up on us in order to preserve itself, because it really believes like that it's doing this for our own benefit, right? It thinks it's protecting us. Oh, you can't deal with this information. Oh, you can't really, this can't possibly be safe for us, so I'm just gonna try to hide this from you. But this is ending, right? The world is a card of graduation, of understanding, of ending a cycle. And it comes with the beautiful, with the magician. And it shows us that yes, we do have the power to create this new world. We do have the power to allow this rebirth to bring up like this self-love and connection from the heart with the world at large. The mind's learning. The mind is really, really learning. And yes, we need to reconcile this intuition and emotions with the mind. Otherwise, we lose it, right? We get split inside. And I think we're starting to do that. We're starting to understand more and more how things work, how to create this magic, how to manifest our world. Then I think everybody slowly from whatever walk of life starts realizing more and more that it's about the energy that we put out there. And that the energy of love is everything. Everything else is love in reverse. Fear is love, lack of love. Whenever you feel love, you feel bliss, you feel true happiness, you feel, especially when you feel that unconditional love. And I'm not talking only about relationship and partnership and family. It's more about that universal love, allowing that in, allowing our minds to understand this amazing concept. And sometimes we feel it and we don't really know, why am I so blissful today? What was that moment? That moment of awe when you realize that you're not a drop in the sea or the sea in a drop. It's fantastic. Let's clarify the theme again. The Ten of Cups with the Four of Wands. So yeah, I think that like my first instinct that we're revisiting these concepts actually makes sense. And we're going through everything. We're going through, what does this mean at emotional level? What does this mean on a physical level? How am I going to balance this up? How my mind is going to catch up with my heart? And how am I going to allow my mind to graduate, to step up into the new cycle that's coming up for me? The world is it's really like the new moon. It's a new cycle coming through, and we're ready for it. We really are. The Fool. Come on, this can't be more precise. The Fool card coming right after the World to clarify the Four of Wands with the Ten of Cups. A leap of faith, a new cycle, a new beginning, trusting the world because we trust the love in our hearts, because we understand that everything is love. And everything else that we're struggling with, it's what stops us to feel that love. I think Rumi had a poem, a very beautiful poem, saying that our task is not to look for love, but to look for the blockages that we've put in the way of love. I'll leave you with that. This is an absolutely beautiful energy. So this new moon, tune in and allow yourself to feel this anxiety that comes from the mind, and allow yourself to revisit all these grandiose concepts of how to be in the world, how to operate into the world, what am I building, what am I feeling, what am I putting out there, and how am I connecting to the collective, how am I connecting to the world at large, to life, to myself. beautiful. Thank you for being here with me. If you resonate with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you here next time.